My best friend's wedding was in 3 days. That's when I found out her fiancé had been making AI deepfake porn of me for over a year. Let me start at the beginning, but fair warning, this story gets dark, and it gets personal. And by the end, you're going to understand why I haven't slept through the night in 6 months. My name is Chloe. I'm 26. I've known my best friend Jessica since we were 9 years old. We met in the 4th grade. She moved to my town from Florida. She had a lisp and braces, and she was crying at the lunch table because no one would sit with her. I sat down next to her. I shared my Oreos, and we had been inseparable ever since. We went to prom together. We were each other's roommates in college. We held each other's hair back when we drank too much. We cried on each other's shoulders after every breakup. We talked about being each other's maid of honor since we were 12 years old, sitting in her basement, watching wedding shows on TLC. So when she met Derek, I was thrilled for her. Derek was handsome, he was tall, he had this deep voice that made everyone stop talking when he walked into a room. He was a software engineer. He made good money. He seemed stable. He seemed kind. That was the mask. Jessica and Derek dated for 2 years before he proposed. I was there when he did it. A rooftop in the city, flowers everywhere, a photographer hiding behind a pillar. It looked like a movie. Jess cried, I cried, everyone cried. I was asked to be the maid of honor, of course. I said yes before she even finished the sentence. The wedding was planned for a June Saturday, 3 days from the day this story starts. The venue was booked, the dress was fitted, the caterer was paid, everything was ready. And then I got a text message from a number I didn't recognize. It was a link, and a single sentence. You should know what your best friend's fiancé has been doing. I almost didn't click it. I thought it was spam. I thought it was a virus. But something about the way it was written made my stomach tighten. It didn't feel like spam. It felt personal. I was at work when I clicked it. Big mistake. The link took me to a Google Drive folder, and inside that folder were screenshots. Screenshots of Discord messages. Screenshots of private servers. Screenshots of conversations between Derek and other men. I scrolled through the first few images. I didn't understand what I was looking at first. There was a lot of technical language, lots of mentions of models and training and generations. I'm not a tech person. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I know how to work a smartboard and check my email. That's about it. But then I saw my name. Chloe. His fiancé's best friend, Chloe. The message said, got new training data for the Chloe model, wedding pics from her Instagram. These are gonna be fire. Training data, model. Those words clicked into place in the worst possible way. I work with kids. I know enough about the internet to know what AI deepfakes are. We had a training at my school about it. About how predators use artificial intelligence to create fake images of real people, about how it's becoming an epidemic. I never thought it would happen to me. I kept scrolling, and scrolling, and scrolling. There were hundreds of messages, maybe thousands. Derek had been doing this for over a year. He had been collecting my photos from my Instagram, photos from my Facebook, photos Jess had sent him from girls' nights and beach trips and birthdays, photos I never knew he had access to, and he had been using them to generate pornographic images of me. Fake images, AI-generated images, but images that looked disturbingly, terrifyingly real. There were also messages where he shared these images with other men, dozens of other men, in private servers, in group chats. They traded them like baseball cards. They made comments about my body, about what they would do to me if they ever met me, about how Derek was so lucky to be close to me. I threw up in my classroom trash can. I locked my door. I sat on the floor behind my desk, and I called my sister. My sister, Rachel, is 3 years older than me. She's a lawyer. She's the kind of person who stays calm when everyone else is panicking. She listened to me hyperventilate for about 5 minutes. Then she said 3 words that changed everything. Don't tell Jess. I didn't understand. Of course I was going to tell Jess. Jess was my best friend. Her fiancé was a monster. She deserved to know. But Rachel explained. She said, right now, you have evidence. If you tell Jess first, she might confront Derek. He might delete everything. He might destroy the evidence. And then it's your word against his. You need to go to the police. You need a lawyer. And you need to do it before the wedding. The wedding was in 3 days. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on my couch, staring at the wall, trying to figure out how my life had become a nightmare. I kept going back to the folder, kept reading the messages, kept torturing myself with the details. That's when I found the worst part. There was a message where Derek was complaining about me, about how I was in the way, about how Jess spent too much time with me, about how he wished I would just disappear. And then another man in the chat suggested something. He said, you should just share the Chloe folder with her. Let her see what you've been making. She'll be so humiliated, she'll never talk to Jess again. Derek's response? Nah, too risky, but I love the way you think. He didn't do it because it was too risky, not because it was wrong, not because it was a violation, just because he might get caught. I called the police the next morning. I went to the station. I showed them everything. The officer I spoke to was a woman. She was maybe 40. She had kind eyes and a tired face. She looked at the screenshots. She looked at me, and she said, I am so sorry this happened to you. She told me that what Derek had done was illegal in our state. There were laws against deepfake pornography, non-consensual intimate images. They could charge him. They could arrest him. But they needed more evidence. They needed to seize his devices. They needed to do it without warning him first. She asked me when the wedding was. I told her 3 days. She said, we can do it during the rehearsal dinner. That might be our best chance. He won't have his phone on him. He won't be able to wipe anything. During the rehearsal dinner, the night before the wedding, while Jess was practicing walking down the aisle, while Derek's parents were making toasts, while everyone was smiling and taking photos and celebrating a marriage that should never happen. I agreed, but I still hadn't told Jess. That was the hardest part. Every time she texted me about flower arrangements or seating charts, I wanted to scream. Every time she sent me a photo of her dress hanging on the door, I wanted to cry. Every time she said, I can't wait to marry him, I wanted to break something. I kept my mouth shut. Because Rachel was right. Because the police were right. Because if Derek found out, he would destroy the evidence. And then he would walk free. And I would be the crazy best friend who tried to ruin a wedding with lies. The rehearsal dinner was on a Friday night, at a fancy Italian restaurant. The whole wedding party was there. Jess's parents, Derek's parents, the bridesmaids, the groomsmen. Everyone was laughing and drinking wine and having a great time. I sat at the table, smiling, making small talk, dying inside. Derek was at the head of the table. He was wearing a navy blazer. He looked happy. He looked normal. He looked like a man who was about to marry the love of his life. I kept looking at his hands. Those hands had typed the messages I read. Those hands had downloaded my photos. Those hands had generated fake images of my body without my consent. At 7:45 p.m., Derek got up to use the restroom. He left his phone on the table. I watched that phone like a hawk. I was terrified someone would pick it up. I was terrified Derek would come back and grab it. I was terrified the police would miss their window. At 7:52 p.m., two officers walked into the restaurant. They were in plain clothes, but I knew. They walked straight to Derek's table. One of them knelt down next to his chair. The other stood behind him. The room went silent. Derek looked confused. He said, "Can I help you?" The officer said, "Derek Thompson, we need you to come with us." Derek's face went white, then red. He said, "What is this about?" The officer said, "We can discuss that at the station." Jess stood up. She said, "What is going on? Derek, what is happening?" Derek looked at me. I will never forget the look on his face. It was pure hatred. He knew. He knew I had done something. He didn't know what, but he knew it was me. One of the officers picked up Derek's phone from the table. He bagged it. He tagged it. He did it right in front of everyone. Jess started crying. Her mom started crying. Derek's mom started yelling. The groomsmen were standing up, getting in the officers' faces, demanding answers. And I just sat there, frozen. The officers led Derek out of the restaurant. He didn't resist. He didn't say another word. He just walked, and the whole restaurant watched. After he was gone, chaos erupted. Everyone was talking at once. No one knew what was happening. Jess was hyperventilating. Someone called Derek's phone. It went straight to voicemail. Someone else called his mom. She was screaming. I got up. I walked over to Jess. I knelt down next to her chair, and I said, "Jess, I need to tell you something, and it's going to be the hardest thing I've ever said." She looked at me. Her mascara was running down her face. She said, "What did you do, Chloe?" I told her. I told her everything. About the text message, about the Google Drive folder, about the Discord messages, about the images, about the year of violation, about the police, about the plan, about everything. She didn't speak for a long time. Then she stood up. She walked to the bathroom. She locked the door. And she didn't come out for 45 minutes. Her mom went in after her. I don't know what they talked about. I don't know what Jess said. But when she came out, she didn't look at me. She walked past me. She got into her mom's car, and she left. I stood in the parking lot alone. The restaurant was empty now. The staff was cleaning up. They were throwing away the centerpieces, the napkins, the half-eaten breadsticks. The wedding was supposed to be in 16 hours. It didn't happen, of course. Jess called me the next morning. She didn't say hello. She didn't ask how I was. She said, "I need to see the folder." I went to her apartment. We sat on her couch. I pulled up the Google Drive on my laptop, and we went through it together. She cried. She screamed. She threw a pillow at the wall. She called Derek names I didn't know she knew. And then she went quiet. She said, "How long?" I said, "Over a year." She said, "He was doing this while he was proposing to me, while we were picking out venues, while we were registering for gifts." I said, "Yes." She didn't cry after that. She just sat there, staring at the wall, for hours. I stayed with her. I didn't leave. I ordered food she didn't eat. I made coffee she didn't drink. I just sat there, next to her, like I had when we were 9 years old and she was crying at the lunch table. Derek was arrested that weekend. He was charged with multiple felonies: creating non-consensual deepfake pornography, distributing it, possession of criminal materials. The police found even more on his devices: more images, more victims, other women, friends of Jess, co-workers of Derek, random women he found on social media. He had been doing this for years. Before Jess, before me, before any of us. He was a predator, and he was hiding in plain sight. The weeks that followed were a blur. Jess canceled the wedding. She told her family why. Some of them believed her, some of them didn't. Derek's parents called her a liar. They said she was trying to destroy their son's life. They said the images were obviously fake and no big deal. Derek's mother actually said to Jess, "Boys will be boys. He didn't hurt anyone." He didn't hurt anyone? I have not slept through the night since this happened. I have panic attacks in the grocery store when I see men who look like him. I deleted all my social media. I changed my phone number. I moved to a new apartment. But he didn't hurt anyone. Jess and I are still friends, but it's different now. There's a wall between us. Not because she blames me. She doesn't. She told me that. She said I did the right thing. She said I saved her from marrying a monster. But every time she looks at me, I see the pain. I see the wedding that didn't happen. I see the life she thought she was going to have. And I know that I'm the one who took it away. Even if I had to. Even if it was right. I'm still the messenger. And messengers always get blamed. Even when the message is true. Derek is in jail now. He's awaiting trial. He's looking at several years. Maybe more, if the other victims come forward. Some of them have. Women I've never met. Women who saw the news and recognized his name. Women who reached out to me to say thank you. To say they didn't know. To say they felt violated too. We have a group chat now, 12 of us. We share resources. We share therapist recommendations. We share our bad days and our good days. It helps. A little. But I still have nightmares. I still wake up at 3 a.m, convinced someone has broken into my apartment. I still jump when my phone buzzes. I'm in therapy now. I'm learning to trust again. Learning to leave my apartment without looking over my shoulder. Learning to believe that not every man is like Derek. It's slow. It's hard. Some days I feel like I'm making progress. Other days I can't get out of bed. Jess is in therapy too. She's dating again. Slowly. Cautiously. She went on a coffee date last week. She texted me after. She said, "He didn't ask for my Instagram. That's a good sign, right?" I said, "That's a great sign." We're healing. Together. The way we always have. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. The thing I can't stop thinking about. I almost didn't click that link. I almost deleted that text message. I almost assumed it was spam. I almost went back to my lesson planning and my Netflix queue and my normal, boring, safe life. And if I had, I would have been the maid of honor at that wedding. I would have stood next to Jess while she married a man who had been violating me for over a year. I would have smiled for the photos. I would have given a speech. I would have toasted to their happiness. And I never would have known. That thought terrifies me more than anything else. The idea that we never really know the people closest to us. That the man sitting across from you at dinner, the one who holds your best friend's hand, the one who seems so normal and kind and loving, could have a secret folder on his computer with your face on it. So here's my question to you, and I really want you to answer this in the comments. Would you have told her? Would you have blown up the wedding? Would you have risked your friendship to stop a monster? Or would you have kept your mouth shut and hoped it would go away? Because some nights, I still wonder if I did the right thing. Jess says I did. My sister says I did. My therapist says I did. But Jess is still single. Derek is still in jail. And I'm still having nightmares. Was it worth it? I don't know. I really don't. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you would have done. Tell me if you've ever found out something about someone you loved that made you question everything. And please, if you're reading this and you have photos of yourself online, be careful. Be so careful. The world is full of Dereks, and they are better at hiding than you think. I'll be in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. Because after everything, I still need to know. Was I the hero? Or was I just the one who pulled the trigger on a bomb that was going to explode anyway? I'll let you decide.